by the forge and by the bow. Your guiding light is all I know. Through wood and steel, through fire and lace, I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Is to a throig arcane. You laid the path before me. You guided every step. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the glass the dead time it's sure? We'll build the land, our hearts within. From dawn till dusk, I work, I strive. With your blessing, I'll survive. The loom, the forge, the sword, the grain in your name, I rise again. Got Bua, got Tolan, got Trio. In you lies strength, in you lies skill. Each victory, each talent, each trial. No task too great, no skill too small. Your gifts, dear goddess, guide us all. Into force. Without your light, we have no guide, but with your hand, our place abides. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it's sore? To find it until our greatest deed. By the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Blessed by her grace, forever.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Pax Dei and Search for Steel. I'm your host, Daniel, and tonight we had an issue logging in, so let's hope this is a little bit more stable this time. Tonight we're going to continue our journey that we've been building on for the past few episodes. Journey into what really it means to make choices that honor who you are. And my computer's just going nuts for some reason. Absolutely insane. So hopefully we can do this. They added Copilot to the computer. It just didn't give me a choice. So yay, Microsoft! Thank you so much. So nice of them. So nice of them. Let's see what happens here. So, let's see. It loaded pretty good up until a point. So let's see if it, because it kicked me right out before we start in on this journey. So, and really it's whether you're facing a crossroads in life or your career or even your favorite game, right? We all have these type of considerations when we're looking for the I turned on the monitor and I can't talk with the monitors on. All right, looks like we might be stable. Let's see. All right. Looks like we're stable. All right, for now. Anyway. Let's see. So, in episode 147, we dove into the science, the modern psychology, and research on decision fatigue, values alignment, and well-being. And then we talked about the hungry judge effect and how values aligned routines can can beat pure willpower, right? So a value aligned is one word, right? Or hyphenated, and how we're living true or principled. Living true to your principles can reduce stress. I am just absolutely bonkers tonight, so forgive me. It can also increase your satisfaction and boost your resilience at work, at home, and even in the most intense MMORPG raids. So if you missed those episodes, I highly recommend that you check them out after this one. But tonight, in episode 148, we're moving from theory to practice. We're putting tools in your hands so you have real actionable strategies that you can use right now to clarify your values, make tough decisions, and course correct when you slip off track. Whether you're a seasoned leader on this, a creative, a gamer, or just someone tired of second guessing yourself, these tools will help you cut through the mental clutter and move with more confidence. And that's what I think we're all about. As a matter of fact, tonight's episode, we are going to just go ahead and mine some rock, because what I need is I can probably get around this guy. What I need is sand. Oh, these are flints. I don't want flint. Is that nice? I don't know how to pronounce it. I call it Nisus rock usually. And if you have Nice rock or nice rock, that's flint. You can it's another flint. You can turn it into sand. Sand makes glass, right? So glass is good. Glass is wonderful. And it also makes vials for you, especially when you are an alchemist needing vials. It kind of tends to help you out. As a matter of fact, let's throw that on the ground. All right. So let's start this episode off, huh? So we'll cover everything from journaling exercises to values checklists to routines to the 10-10-10 rule, and even tips drawn from both therapy and gaming. You'll meet Aiden, which is a fictional listener who weaves values through his work, family, and guild life. You can also see these ideas in action across worlds. So grab your notebook, your favorite app, or settle in. And let's build your values-based decisions toolkit together. Because every topic quest, or every epic quest starts with knowing what you stand for. So if you're ready, we will get into it. Oh, and just for those of you who game Pax Dei, the current iteration is still here. The verse 3 is coming up soon. They haven't given us a date, but they've given us a lot of detail about a lot of different things, and what I don't want to do is get into it just yet. Ah, crap. Wow, I can't believe I didn't take any damage from that. That's fine. There we go. This is a harder one to get, but it's worth it. Anyway, so I'm going to share a set of practical strategies. Think of it as your decision-making toolkit with values as the central theme. Some of these I've learned from coaches or books, some from research, others from personal trial and error. You don't have to use all of them. Different tools for different situations, right? But even adopting one or two can make a notable difference. And that's what we're here to do, really. I think I'm going this way. There's a little rabbit by me. I don't have a bow. I can probably just get my pickaxe, but let's go on. So tool one is the values clarification exercise. This is step 0. You must know what your values are. There are many exercises out there. One is to look at a long list of values and whittle down what you think yours are. Another is journaling about the times you really felt fulfilled or really upset, and deducing the values behind those feelings. For example, if you recall being extremely angry when you saw somebody bullied, or perhaps at that point you value justice. Ooh, going the wrong way. Or compassion, right? So there's two different values there, justice or compassion. If you recall feeling on top of the world when you mentioned or mentored someone, maybe you valued generosity, right? Teaching or empowerment. Any one of the three, really. Try to identify around 3 to 5 core values. You don't want to go above that, otherwise you will be in a pickle as far as the trying to adhere to. I call it what do we call it? Value paralysis. You have so many values that you have to go through them like a Rolodex in order to figure out which one is being effective. More than 5, like I said, gets confusing because life often forces trade-offs, and having too many top values is like having none. Everything can be a top priority at once, or not everything can be a top priority at once, right? If all emails are priority, then no emails are priority, right? A lot of people in my company, they'll stick an exclamation point or as for to communicate a priority email. And the more they do that, I don't look at them. If something is a priority, chat me up. I'll understand that you really need something done about it now. Also, define what each value means to you. Two people can both say, I value success, but one means climbing the corporate ladder, another means achieving balance and contentment. They're totally different. Same value, totally different. So clarify your definition. Once you write them down, some are visible. Maybe a sticky note on your desk, or a note in your phone, or a note on your phone that you can quickly reference, right? Some folks make it easy, make it like an artsy-fartsy frame it, their personal credo, if you will. And that's cool too. This isn't set in stone forever. You can update it as you evolve. But values tend to stick with you for a very, very long time. It takes a major life event in order for a value to change. And we'll get into that. But having it tangible really helps when you are swirling within indecision. A quick glance at your core value can be grounding. Like, for instance, having a note that reads creativity, empathy, freedom, integrity, and growth. There's a word in there if you... Anyway, those are 5 core values, right? So when you're in a funk or unsure, sometimes you can literally look at that and ask, am I honoring these? Which of these does the situation touch on? It's surprisingly effective, and it cuts through the mental clutter. If you're struggling to narrow down values, here's an approach recommended in therapy. Imagine your 80th birthday, and someone is giving you a speech about what you hope they'd say about you and your life and what you stood for. The adjectives or qualities you'd want to mention are likely your true values. That is, caring, adventurous, honest. Another approach, imagine you could teach your children, your nieces, nephews, the future generations, only a few principles for life. What would you pick? Those reflect what you find most important. Tool number 2. The decision question checklists. So I gave an example earlier from UC Davis guide. I think in 146 I gave this in episode 146. But essentially, neither is a tin deposit up here. Sorry. Yep. So when faced with a significant decision, run through a set of structured questions, many which should be centering on your values. So the first question, what is the decision I need to make? Sounds obvious, but sometimes just clearly stating it helps focus the you as an individual, right? The decision is, do I accept job A or B? You're basically very simple, right? You're trying to move around the clutter, not only the clutter of emotion, right? So, second question, what are my options? List them plainly, including the option to do nothing or any creative alternatives. For each option, right? Which of my core values would this option honor? It might, which might be compromised. Be very specific. Maybe option 1 honors independence, but compromises financial security. Option 2 is vice versa. Option 3 honors creativity, but compromises family time, etc. By mapping this out, you're visualizing the value trade-offs. Another question is, I'm looking at my notes if you're wondering why I keep going into the inventory because it's on the other screen. Are there any of my non-negotiable values at stake? If an option forces you to violate something you absolutely won't or shouldn't, but you shouldn't budge on, then it's likely out. For instance, if honesty is a non-negotiable and one option involves shady practices, I'm going to pause for dramatic effect. The decision made, don't do that. If none are non-negotiable or there's a mix, then you can continue consideration, right? So what's the next consideration question you should ask yourself? Am I willing to compromise some values for others? And to what extent? This is where prioritizing comes in. Maybe you realize I'd sacrifice some leisure, which is fun value, in the next year to get financial stability, which is a security value. But I won't sacrifice my health or integrity. So you're drawing that line in the sand. Another question that you want to ask yourself is, what is the best fit with my values overall? After laying it out, often one option emerges as aligned better with all the things that matter most to you, right? It might not align with all your values. It rarely does. there's no perfect option, but it should hit on the top ones at a minimum. Next question, how do I feel about this decision? How will I feel about this decision later? Well, project yourself into the future. If I choose X in a year, will I likely be saying, I'm glad I did what felt right, even though it was hard? Or will it be rationalizing? I did it for the money, but I hate this. This is basically the regret test we mentioned earlier in episode 147. Which choice minimizes future regret given what you value, right? Writing these answers down can be incredibly clarifying. Our minds can loop in the abstract, but on paper or screen, it often becomes clear. You might see option B ticks 4 of your 5 values. Option A only ticks 2, but promises big bucks. Why am I even hesitating? B is the life I want. Or vice versa, you might see a clear pattern that your fear was exaggerating a compromise that isn't actually that bad when weighed against what you gain. So tool 3, the 10-10-10. We covered this a little earlier. I think it was in episode 146. Might have been episode 147. I can't remember. We've gone over so much, and thank you for joining me if you really value my information. Do you like what I said there? Yeah? At any rate. Yes, you'll get bad jokes here as well. Let me tell you. So I need some... I'm actually drinking 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 sodium. It's Zevia, which is a stevia kind of soda. It's basically has flavor, essentially. 0 calories, did I mention that? Really cleanses the palate. And it tastes good. And yes, this is not a sponsored spot. But it's a good soda. So, and it's much more healthy because it has the stevia plant versus sugar. And on the glycemic index, Zevia barely bumps your sugar response in your body. So keep that in mind when you're making those choices for health out in the real world, right? All right. Let's go over here and avoid the boar. So I can fight it because I really don't have anything but a pickaxe. Can I kill it with a pickaxe? Absolutely can kill it with a pickaxe. What's going on in this game? This is the second game. We should be in the midst of a solar storm, which should be fun. I'll get rid of some stuff here in a second. All right, so the 10-10-10 rule. You want to ask how you feel about the decision 10 minutes from now, 10 months from now, and 10 years from now. This helps align short-term emotions with long-term values. I hope that is something wrong. Either my game or the way I'm hitting these things. Crap. I can't believe it. My God, I'm doing 15 to this. That's incredible. Alright, let's get rid of some stuff now. I don't need that. I'm looking just for sand or things I can make sand out of. Everything else is relevant to me. We'll drop back into that 10-10-10 rule here in a second. I just want to do this real quick since it's on the other screen is where my notes are. Could I speak to it? Yeah. But honestly, that's why I took notes. So I don't have to... So I can guide everyone in a really cool method. Hopefully you guys can use the tool to your benefit and make a better version of yourselves. Because that's what this channel is all about, taking ancient wisdom, current research, and kind of saying, hey, look, the ancients had it right. We should start living life the way the ancients used to, right? All right. So where was I? On my notes. Let me take a look. It's a hot spring. At least it's not there. There we go. I don't think I know anybody on the server today, but that's a wyvern or a wyvern. That's been rumored that there's going to be a wyvern in the game that you're going to pretty much need 2 or 3 parties to kill. Anyway, it's a rumor. I don't know how much I trust it. So the 10-minute perspective honors the immediate feelings, like I'll be relieved if I say no to this request right now. Or the 10 months perspective brings a medium consequences, right? In 10 months, I wish I had taken that opportunity. You know, that's the kind of question you would say. And then, of course, the 10 years, you're bringing in legacy, right? Legacy consequences. Will I remember or care about this in 10 years? If yes, it's a big deal aligned with values. If no, maybe you shouldn't stress about it. It often highlights whether you're overweighing the present discomfort or a present pleasure against future implications. Ideally, choose the path that your 10-month or 10-year self will thank you for, unless the immediate cost violates some critical value right now. So there's little scale there for you. So, for example, someone considering cheating on a partner might think 10 minutes from now, I'll feel excitement. 10 months from now, if it comes out, my relationship could be over, which is devastation, right? You're going to feel devastated. 10 years, I deeply regret blowing up my family for a fling. The stark timeline view can jolt one back to the value of loyalty or long-term love versus momentary temptation. Conversely, someone stuck in a safe or stagnating situation might see 10 minutes after deciding to make the change, I'll be anxious. 10 months from now, I might be in a much better place thanks to the change. Or 10 years from now, I'll definitely regret not trying. This encourages them to act accordingly to their values of growth and courage rather than comfort, right? So 2 starkly different scenarios. But with the 10-10-10 rule, you can kind of give yourself a guiding question, right? Tool 4 is pre-commitment and routines. We talked about ritual and how important it is in our lives and in society in general. We saw how Obama actually routinized to conserve energy, right? Identifying reoccurring decisions that drain you or where you often slip from your values, right? You can so his routine was he only had blue suits in the closet, and that type of non-decision commitment, right, to pre-commitment or routine. He just picked out a suit. It was a blue suit. Didn't matter, right? So essentially, decide once and carry it out many times. Or habits, or create rules or habits around what you think reflect your desired values. Essentially, decide once, carry it out many times. Examples: if health is a value, schedule your workouts and treat them like work meetings, non-negotiable. If family is a value, maybe rule like home by 6:30 for dinner every night. If learning is a value, enroll in a class or set a regular time. By formalizing it, you remove the "do I feel like it today" question. Feelings can be fickle. Values are a lot steadier. Another angle, if you value integrity, you can pre-commit to honesty by default. That way, when your situation arises, perhaps there's a mistake at work, you don't debate, cover up, or admit it. You default to the admit it and fix it. It's a policy you set within yourself. People like Warren Buffett say they can have certain rules, like not doing business with people they don't trust, that they stick to always. These value-based rules are likely, or they probably save them from many a headache, even if they missed some opportunist. God, my tongue is like swollen, I think. I cannot pronounce anything. Anyway, pre-commitment can also mean removing temptations that conflict with your values. If you value focus at work, but keep getting distracted by social media, pre-commit by installing site blockers or leaving your phone in another room during deep work time. That decision not to decide, to have, not to have use of it, to not have to use willpower every time, right? So you don't want to use willpower every time. God, why did I say it that way? My brain is just going wacky. This is values in action, right? So here's a great one. And these aren't in any order of importance, by the way. I'm going to stay here until these things respawn. And we're going to look at the, that guy has not done anything to his house in like, since I've been here. Might be in a guild, he might have his place somewhere else. All right, so tool 5. Excuse me. The pause and breathe. When confronted with a surprising or emotional decision, like someone asking you for something on the spot, or an incident that flares anger, train yourself to pause if possible. Even a few deep breaths, right? I'm trying to do something. And hopefully the audio gets a little bit better, but I don't know why it stopped. Anyway. So a few, just do a few deep breaths. And even a few deep breaths and a moment of stepping back can help you remember your values instead of reacting impulsively. You might even create a tiny ritual, maybe silently count to 5 or repeat the mantra, like stay true, before responding. This short circuits the immediate emotional reaction and gives you a wiser mind, or it gives your wiser mind time to kick in. For instance, it's all over the place. An email comes in that makes you furious. Instead of firing back a nasty reply, which might violate your value of professionalism or kindness, you step away, breathe, maybe recall, I value respect, I'll respond tomorrow and calm. That prevents a decision, like hitting the send on an angry email that you'd likely stress about later. Now, there's another option here, and I use it today 100% of the time. AI, if it's not a work email that has any kind of work information or proprietary information. My company has Copilot, so they buy us a license and we're allowed to use it. They give us authorization. So I plug in my response, as hateful as it might be, as angry as it might be, into the AI. And then I say to the AI, prompt, take this email, guide it by the value of kindness and professionalism, rewrite it, So I can answer with this, as my answer. I paste the draft. I'm going to put air quotes in the draft of my email, and I'm going to put that in the AI, and the AI will spit out a professional kind letter with the content that I provided it, even though it was angry. That gives me two things. A, it allows me to read, because I always read the AI's response before I just copy paste, right? I usually, depending if I'm angry, I don't temper it at all, right? I look at it, I copy paste it, put it in once I agree with it. But the biggest things to that is you can respond quick, right? Normally people are poking the bear, if you will, because they need a response. They're getting poked themselves. They need a response. Waiting until tomorrow, although is effective. I'm not saying it isn't, because I told you it is effective. However, having that email back quickly and in the context of friendliness, kindness, and professionalism will help them in the long run, which gives you favor, because that person receiving the email will be like, oh my gosh, they took time, they drafted a response that really hits the key points, yet is not angry. Or I cannot read this as angry. Similarly, if you're impulsive about to make a purchase that conflicts with your value of financial prudence, pausing and thinking, do I really need this? Is it worth an hour's of work wages? Does this align with my goals? Can save you from buyer's remorse. The pause is often enough for your prefrontal cortex, the rational values-oriented part, to say, hold on, friend. Tool 6, reflection questions, which is post-decision mostly. Excuse me. Sorry about that, if you could hear that. I just have a lot of gas today. Well, drinking soda. So we mentioned anticipating regrets, right? But we also practice reflecting our after decisions, if you will, especially big ones. We learn to ask, now that I've chosen X, how does it align with my values? Am I feeling at peace, or is there something gnawing at me? If you feel at peace, even if it's hard, that's a sign you did align with your values. If something feels off, identify which value is unsettled. Maybe you realize, I took that job for money, but I already feel uneasy because of the sense of integrity issues in the company. That's a sign to course correct sooner rather than later. Reflection also helps celebrate this when you do stick out your values, reinforcing that behavior. Like, I'm proud I told the truth in the meeting, even though it was awkward. That aligns with who I want to be. And then give yourself that pat on the back. It strengthens your identity as a values-driven person. You can integrate these into journaling and into a journaling habit, right? Some people do an evening journal. What did I do today? What do I feel good about? What do I regret? Often the feel goods are when they acted on values, helped by somebody, stood up for self, made progress on passion project. And regrets are when they didn't, avoided speaking up out of fear, procrastinated, snapped at somebody. Seeing those patterns in writing repeatedly will naturally guide you to make more good moves in the future. It's like calibrating your compass regularly. Another one is solicit value-aligned advice. As I said, talk to people. Talk to people you trust, but specifically those who understand you and respect your values. If you go to someone who doesn't share your or respect your values, their advice may not fit you. For instance, asking a highly competitive friend whether you should take a promotion that conflicts with your family. Their value says, hell yeah, take it, because it differs from your own, leaving you a little bit more confused because you respect this person, right? Instead, choose advisors who can play devil's advocate, but will still honor your core concerns. Sometimes just articulating your dilemma to a sympathetic ear clarifies it for you. Has anyone ever experienced that? Anyway, you might say, when you say it out loud, you might take option B and say, oh, that sounds a lot better for me, because you're saying it out loud. Good friends or mentors can also remind you of who you are at your best. Like, you've always been someone who cares about community impact. Don't underestimate how important that is to you. That can cut through temporary allure of something else, right? Also, if you're a spiritual person, consulting can include prayer or meditation, seeking alignment with your higher power, or a higher power, or God, if you will, or a deeper intuition. Depending on your beliefs, many find that taking the time to pray or meditate on a decision will bring it brings a sense of peace, right? Or an answer that resonates with your values. It's like tapping into your subconscious wisdom, which often holds your value priorities, even if your conscious mind is tangled. And we've noted on several occasions that prayer prayer is meditation. Meditation, not necessarily prayer, but it really mimics the benefits of prayer, right? Or meditation, vice versa, whatever you want to say. Let's see what we can do with these. I just realized I was out of food. I'm gonna pick up this rock up here too. There we go. And I'm already full. If any newbie is behind me, they'd get like a treasure trove and stuff. All they'd have to do is pick it up. They'd be like, I got pure iron. Yeah. Alright. So, tool number 8 is visualize your outcome. I know it sounds corny, but it's true. This is a bit of a mental simulation kick, right? Or trick, a mental simulation. Visualize in detail what each choice outcome looks like and how you feel living in that outcome. For example, choice A, imagine yourself in a new city or in a new city job day by day, coming home, etc. Are you energized or are you drained? Is your heart heavy from missing home or excited about the new opportunity? Maybe choice B, imagine you stayed, you're doing other things. Does it feel like you missed it fulfilling, or does it feel like you missed the chance? Your gut emotions in these visualizations can reveal value, satisfaction, or conflict. It's not a magic future prediction, but it can expose the scenario that does it align more with your spirit, or does it align more with your values, right? Which scenario are those scenarios that you're doing the simulation in? What does it look like? I almost forgot to do this. And it looks like they're starting to repopulate some of it down here. Okay. Sometimes you'll face your face will even smile in one scenario or frown in another spontaneously. And that tells you something as well. This is akin to the coin flip heuristic. Some say you can't decide, flip a coin, not to follow it, but see your immediate action. If it comes up heads, option A. If you feel secretly disappointed, then you actually want B. If you feel relief, then option A is likely what you want. This works because it forces you to confront your true desires for a split second. That desire stems from the values, from your values, often, less from your, unless it's just your fear base. But you can tell the difference usually. Disappointment from a value not chosen versus fear of a challenge of a different that has a different flavor. Man, I just cannot talk tonight. How about tool 9? Create reminders of values in daily life. Incorporate your values into your environment so that they cue you naturally, right? They become a part of you. For one example, if your value is gratitude and spirituality, maybe you keep something on your desk that reminds you of that. Quote, a symbol, whatever it is. So when you're making decisions at work, it's in sight. Family, if family is a top value, a photo of your family on your phone lock screen, right, could remind you of what you're doing and what you want to do. And perhaps to put the phone down when you're with them. Courage is a value. Maybe wear a bracelet that says fearless, or set your computer password to an inspiring word. You see it daily, or use it daily. This might sound trivial, but they reinforce identity. Then, when relevant choice comes, right, you're already primed with it. For example, you might say, right, this is who I am, right, as you're looking at the cue. It can strengthen your resolve in the moment of truth, right? And that's basically what we're trying to get at with this tool. So tool 10. Embrace values experiments. Well, what does that mean? If a decision is reversible or you're really unsure, try a low risk experiment aligned with the value and gather feedback. For instance, if you think you value entrepreneurship and hate your corporate job, but aren't 100% sure, maybe you start a side hustle project on the weekends. First, you want to see if that fulfills you, and if you handle the uncertainty well, right? If you value living in another country, but worry you'll be lonely, conflicting with the values of adventure versus belonging. Maybe you take a 2-week solo trip in that country as a test run. These experiments can inform the big decisions with lived experience rather than just theory. They also reduce the chance of idealizing a value that in reality may not resonate as strongly, or it may come with some trade-offs you didn't anticipate. It's like you're prototyping a values-driven life change, if you will. So I've given you a lot of tools. I don't expect you to use them immediately, right? And you don't have to adopt them all. Perhaps one or two jumped out at you, right? Use those. You might want to try them. Even if it's small shifts, they make a big difference over time. The key is to make your values-based thinking a habit, not just a one-time exercise. Like any skill, it strengthens with practice. Initially, you might forget to consider one of your values and kick yourself after a suboptimal choice. But as you pay more attention, it can become second nature. Eventually, you might notice you naturally lean towards options that feel right. And you have fewer dilemmas that escalate as a result. So being proactive and steering your life in a direction consistent with your core beliefs is important. The beautiful thing is, a person clear in their values often becomes a beacon for others, right? You can inspire your friends. For sure, you can inspire your friends, family, or even your kids or community to also live more authentically. It's like carrying a torch. It lights your way, and others see that light too. In times of confusion or darkness, those core principles can shine like, to use our series metaphor, a finely forged steel sword reflecting the sunlight. So as we approach wrapping all of this up, let me tie everything together with a final scenario that shows values weaving through personal life, work, and gaming to demonstrate how one can live integrated across these domains. Let's talk to Aiden. I'm just going to use a hypothetical listener, right? In his personal life, Aiden values health, family, and continuous learning. At work, he's a mid-level manager. He values integrity and teamwork. In gaming, he's an avid MMO player. He values helpfulness and fun, not taking things too serious. Now Aiden strives to apply these consistently. In the morning, he gets up early to jog. That's his health value. And is home to make breakfast for his kids. Family value. On the drive to work, he listens to an audiobook on leadership. Continuous learning value. At work, a client offers him a side or cash under the table deal that would benefit him but shortchange his company. His integrity alarm goes off and he politely declines because there's no amount of money worth him violating trust. Instead, he reports the incident to his boss and works out a fair solution that respects all parties. He also notices a junior teammate struggle. He also takes time to mentor them, which is teamwork and helpfulness value, even though he's busy, because that aligns with who he wants to be. Come evening, it's a raid in his MMO. A new player joins the guild run. Undergeared and nervous, some members grumble. Aiden steps up to reassure him. Quote, "We all started somewhere. Let's help them out." His value of helpfulness in gaming shines. They do the raid. It's a bit slow, but they succeed. And the newbie gets some good gear. Aiden feels happy to him, or because of it, right? That inclusive fun is why he plays. Later, one of the core hardcore members whispers to him saying, "Hey, thanks for sticking up for the newbie. I was annoyed at first, but I actually felt good to help. Our guild's vibe is awesome because of that." That compliment reinforces Aiden's sense of living by his values, and he's spreading positive effects. Before bed, he reads his kids a story, family again. He reflects on the day. He's tired but content. He made he had many chances to cut corners or be selfish, skip the workout, ignore his colleague, carry the newbie, but he didn't. And thus, he dealt with each situation relatively low stress or conflict. He didn't have an inner war or any of those decisions. They felt straightforward. Even the tough one with the client, because he knew what he stood for. He goes to sleep with a clear conscience, and maybe even a slight smile. Is Aiden perfect? No. Maybe some days he falters. Maybe tomorrow he snoozes he hits the snooze on the alarm, misses the job. Nobody's perfect. But overall, actively trying to infuse his values into each part of his life, he experiences more harmony and less anxiety. He's effectively the same person wherever he is. He doesn't have to put on a mask at work or turn into a troll online or a couch potato at home. That doesn't mean he acts identically in all contexts, but the core principles carry through. That alignment is huge. It's a reducer of psychological friction. People around him might not articulate it, but they'll sense he's grounded and trustworthy. He has a compass, which in an age of fickle trends is refreshing. We have the capacity to do this in our own flavor. You don't have to be some guru or paradigm. Just be yourself on purpose. Decide what matters and try to let that guide you. When you slip, don't beat yourself up. Just note it and realign. As you saw, even philosophical giants like Confucius or Marcus Aurelius basically were telling their students, examine yourself, hold on to virtue, correct when you stray. This is a lifelong practice, not a one-time achievement. Let's see. I'm going to go into the conclusion here, but I wanted to see, you know what? I might be able to go down this way and get more. These are probably back, right? Nope. I thought they might be back. That's wicked, right? Now, they are. And the board is awesome. Let's skip the board, shall we? I gotta say, I try to live, especially in my MMORPGs. Emthyr is a kind, gentle person who doesn't need anything from anybody. I try to act like that. He tries to help as much as possible, for sure. He's a gentle soul. He's very good at what he does in crafting. He'll give out potions, right? He doesn't need anything. If somebody gives him gold, he's not gonna say no, right? I really want this stone. I'm gonna fight this thing. There it is. All right. Wow. You gotta really try to hit X to drop stuff, but you have to be in the actual area for it to work. There we go. All right, let's drop the conclusion here as we continue to mine a little bit. Again, I'm just going for sand. I'm gathering as many materials as I can before verse 3 impacts us. So as we conclude this episode, let's zoom in and remind ourselves why this matters. We live in a world with infinite choices. From the trivial 200 kinds of different cereal in the supermarket to the profound, what career, where do I live, who do I marry, what do I stand for in a turbulent society? It's easy to become overwhelmed, anxious, or cynical amidst this complexity. Decision paralysis is common. Regret from making the wrong choice can haunt us. Promise of values-based decision making is not that everything comes easy or that you'll always materially win. No, sometimes your value might cost you something. The promise is rather that you'll have fewer regrets and more inner peace because you'll know whatever happened acted in accordance with your true self, and that is immensely freeing and stress relief. Think values of the storyline of the hero, and that's you in the game of life. The plot will have twists, enemies, side quests, loot, and losses. But the through line is your character's ethos, When people talk about your legacy or your character, it's essentially the sum of your decisions made by values. In our favorite RPGs, we admire characters, usually our own avatars, when they stick to their code. Geralt of Rivia, from The Witcher. He has a Witcher's code. Commander Shepard in Mass Effect. We mold by moral choices. Superheroes have their moral codes. With great power comes great responsibility, etc. Your life is no different. You get to be the protagonist who, through countless micro decisions and a few macro ones, creates a narrative of what you stood for. And hey, life's all too short to live by someone else's values. We each have unique ones. For some of us, it's creativity. For others, it's service, or adventure, or knowledge, or compassion. I think you get it. Honoring that uniqueness reduces essential stress of, am I living rightly? You are living rightly when you live your right, not somebody else's. It's an analogy of like values are like different builds in a game. Some play a healer, some play a tank, some have DPS. If you try to tank with a healer's build, you'll be stressed out and you'll fail. If you play your build to your build's strengths, you thrive. Society might pressure you to take a certain path and a certain build, but if it doesn't match your inner stats, you feel it. Going with what aligns with your own strengths and passions is usually wiser and a happier route, even if at times it seems countercultural. Well, let's see. So let's boil it down, because I'm sure I have a diverse audience. I'm happy for that. I'll say this: values transcend politics. People across the spectrum have values. Conflicts often arise when different values clash or rank differently. One might prioritize liberty, another equality, one tradition, another innovation, etc. In a pluralistic world, using values as a filter doesn't mean forcing yours on others, but it gives you personal clarity. And if you communicate in value terms, or values terms, you often find common ground even with those who disagree on the specifics. For example, you can say, I support X policy because I deeply value compassion for the vulnerable. Someone opposed to that might actually share the compassion value, but that value of personal responsibility might be more a higher priority for them. And now, at least you understand each other's core concerns rather than just hurling slogans. And let's face it, slogans are somebody else's value put on paper and just handed out. And what I said was, when you understand each other's core concerns, that's more constructive dialogue. But I digress. The point here is living with your values can make you more understanding, make you a more understanding person toward others, because you recognize that they have their own guiding stars. Even if you think they're misguided, at least they're likely to have reasons they consider good. I want you to have a couple of final reflective thoughts or prompts to take with you after this stream or podcast. 1, identify one upcoming decision, big or small, where you can consciously apply your values. It could be tonight's plans, an assignment at work, a conversation you have to have. Ask yourself how you can approach that in a way that's truer to your core values, and then try it and see how it feels. How about this one? Oh, I'm just going off on everything, aren't I? All right. How about this one? Identify one area of your life that consistently stresses you out. Then ask, is some value of mine being suppressed or trampled in that area? That is a great question, right? What change could I make to honor that value more? For example, if you're always stressed about money but realize security is a top value, maybe creating a budget or a plan would reduce the stress because you'd feel more in control and aligned with that value. Or if you dread going to work because maybe respect is a value and your workplace is toxic, perhaps it's time to job hunt to a more respectful environment. One tweak or even a big change can drastically improve quality of life if it resolves a chronic values disconnect. And I want to go into a little bit more here because I kind of hovered over it, but I want to double click on that. When you're looking for a new job and you value something, ask the question at the end of the interview. Let me grab something to drink. Remember, at the end of an interview, people are going to ask you, what questions do you have for me? And you could say, you can think of it differently, but I'm going to keep it in the context of the conversation. I have this value. How does your company feel about it? Where does it align in the values of your company? Or I did some research on the values of your company on your webpage, and this is what I found. It aligns with my current value, or one of my top values. However, I know your websites and company values they can be written, but they might not be followed. Can you give me an instance on your team where the value of the company was followed? Remember, you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. And if you're going to align yourself with a company and their values, you definitely want to be able to ask those questions to determine if you're right fit for the company or the company is a right fit for you. Right? Because you don't want to leave one toxic environment and go to another toxic environment. So here's another one. Picture yourself at 80 or any old age, chilling on a porch, right? You're just trying to, in your future self, you reflect on your life. Complete this sentence. I am thankful that I blank because it meant I lived according to my values. Maybe that I spent less of time with my family, or stood up for what I believed, or took those risks while I could, etc. Whatever fits in your envisioned legacy. Now, whether you filled in or whatever you filled in, are you doing that now? If not, consider this episode a friendly nudge to start incorporating that more. As you implement your values-based living, expect some pushback. Internally, old habits die hard, fears pop up. And externally, people used to you being a certain way might react when you change. But stick with it gently. Over time, the results speak for themselves. Less angst, more confidence in the path you walk, for one instance. You also find decision-making is a skill. The more you practice making choices aligned with your values, the better you'll get at it. And the more complex decisions you can handle with equanimity. It's like leveling up. What used to stress you out, maybe negotiating a boundary with someone, or it becomes easier because your values muscle is stronger, if you will. So one more analogy for my fellow gamers, just to kind of hammer this home. Life is kind of like a box of chocolates. No, I'm kidding. Life is... I wrote the note down. I just thought I'd throw that joke, and I know. I can't even see the comments, but I can hear the comments. Anyway, life is like an open world RPG. A good one. There are main quests, side quests, countless dialogue options, and yes, a morality meter in a sense. You can wander aimlessly, or you can pursue the quests that resonate with you. Values are those quests. The meaningful ones can lead you to the good ending of your life story. But when you ignore them, you might still end up somewhere, but possibly at the bad ending, or just an empty one. When you follow them, you fill your story with purpose. And just like in a game, it's okay if your path is different from others. Some players do every side quest, some focus on the main story. In life, some value career, some family, right? Some adventure. The key is play your own game. Use the values as your strategy. And let's see. Let's do a quick anecdote. Well, it's not really an anecdote. Let's say when we were younger, we made choices out of fear or conformity. You could pick the safer route, or what I thought, or others thought were expected, right? You're expected to do A or B, right? Some worked out, but I noticed it felt more like more stress and less joy on those paths, right? So as you grow older, the values exercise, you have to do the values exercise. And then you realize that you've been sidelining creativity and authenticity, for example. Maybe those are two values you sideline. You make a shift, which is usually any kind of shift is scary, right? So you do a more creative profession or committed to being more me, right? In all settings. And it could have been remarkable. Yes, there were a lot of challenges and some people who didn't get it. But your anxiety will drop and your motivation will soar. Decisions, large and small, become easier. Right? So keep that in mind as we're moving forward. As we wrap up, I want to thank you for hanging out in there through this very deep dive of 3 episodes. It might be one of those episodes you come back to as you encounter new decisions or you want a refresher on the tools. Feel free to share your own stories and strategies in the chat. And I love learning from all people, right? Because we all have our own stories that I don't necessarily can relate to, or not relate to, excuse me. I might not encounter those stories, right? Those factors. But you did. So pass on that knowledge, right? It's good for everyone. If it's not me who finds it valuable, it could be somebody else. So please do. Remember, complexity in the world isn't going to decrease. If anything, the pace of change and information overload is going to way increase. We can't control that, but what we can control is every stoic would nod, and then any gamer controlling their character can attest to, is your own guiding principles and your actions. When you use your values as a filter, you create a sort of sanctuary of clarity amidst chaos. It's like having high-level gear to resist debuffs of confusion and peer pressure. You become a paladin with the aura that repels stress. Okay, perhaps not 100%, but significantly. People might even start asking, how do you stay so calm and focused? Feel free to point them to your own values. It's not magic, it's just self-knowledge and consistency. In closing, I'll borrow wisdom from a few sources. There's an old saying, wisdom begins in wonder, implying that we should continually reflect and wonder about things, about what makes life good. Another saying is know thyself, which is exactly what we've been doing. By knowing yourself, you can lead yourself. Combine those, wonder about what matters, know yourself, and then be yourself. The rest tends to fall in place, or at least it becomes manageable, right? Your values are like a steel core of your sword. They give it strength and shape. Temper that steel through reflection, practice, and when the time comes to make a cut through dilemmas, it won't bend or shatter. Where am I? All right. Almost there. So really, thank you for spending your time with me on this journey through the Stoic halls, Confucian courtyards, and Ubuntu villages, research labs, and virtual worlds, all converging on the idea of living. On living and deciding by your values is the way to go for clearer, more fulfilling life. I hope you found something in this episode that spoke to you, perhaps a strategy to try, or simply renew motivation. To live in a closer alignment with what you care about. If you did, I'd love to hear about it. Feel free to share your reflections or even your any decisions that you currently are weighing. In a general sense, you don't have to get specific. And we as a community can help support each other. There's no judgments here because every journey is unique. Until next time, my name is Daniel. This is Emphier on the in the game. And like I said, it's kind of boring in the game right now because I'm just waiting for the next iteration of the verse. And then we'll probably go through exactly how to build houses and what to look for, and how to skill up before we go into the next big topic of conversation. But what as you log off or move on with your day, let's carry your values with you. Consider them your buff against whatever challenges come. Use them as your filter in this complex world and notice a difference. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Definitely stay tuned. Stay true to yourself. Care about one another. And game on with purpose. Anyway, thanks for listening to Pax Dei, the Search for Steel, episode 148. And, I will be putting out a little side note. I will be putting out some music video. I'm hoping to put out the music video this week. I've been working on it for a long time, on and off. One of those, how should I say, sidebar projects that I really need to finish, and I haven't. And that's on me. That's on me. Actually, I think I have a whole other chest for this. It's actual steel. There we go. I didn't want to bring that much over, but you know what? Oh well. So, music video. I have a music channel called Elysian Echo. It's on YouTube. I do have those same videos on Rumble if you are so inclined to use Rumble. So definitely go check those out. What else do I got? Oh, just a side note: the beginning and end song are from Suno AI. It composed the music. I helped with the lyrics, the musical, the musical and the vocal direction, instrumental, and the vocal direction. So I guess I produced it, if you will. I think AI is a great tool for me because I don't have 10,000 hours to spend trying to master the bardic way. But I hope you enjoy them as much as I enjoyed making. Also, I have another series. I am going to have a serial coming out. It's going to be a space radio kind of thing. It'll have some graphics, but it's not going to... They'll be more static pictures. I don't have the AI capability to actually create an entire movie yet. Although I am also crafting a... what do we call it? It is... let me see where I am. Trying to figure out where my mouse is. There it is. Okay. Allegory of the Cave. That's what it was. And I think it was Plato came up with the Allegory of the Cave, but I'm trying to make it into a mini short with the core of it being AI generated. Then I'll generate the voices. My voice will be used as the main character, and then I'll probably use some what is it? I think 11 Labs might be the choice I'm going to go with. So I'm going to have to buy a membership there. But yeah, I got some projects in the fire. Some projects that hopefully by end of the month of June I will have completed. So stay tuned for all that. And seriously, thank you for joining us. I know this game right now is a little bit less intense than what it normally is. Like I said, I'm just gathering. It's a good gathering game because I'm trying to build skills and craft stuff before the next verse introduction, but you'll see me in the next verse hunting, going after NPCs for materials and combat skill training, etc., etc. So keep that in mind as we're playing the game and you're visiting. These lectures will always take precedent. I'm just using the game in the background as more of a tool, if you will, just a moving screen, so you have something to look at if you want. Other than that, tell me a better format, and maybe I'll do that better format, because I love gaming, but maybe this isn't the right format for it. So let me know. Give me your thoughts in the comment. I'm also on X. I'm also on LinkedIn. Just look up my name and find me. I think it's at D. Well, I have my stuff in the description, my social media in the description. Go ahead and take a look if you will. Until then, have a good day, have a good night, no matter when you're watching this, and we'll talk soon.
With every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned. The blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand. As I hold my craft, I take my stand. In the quiet woods, in the mountains chill, I push myself, I shape my will. With each new tool and every lore, I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. The road is long, but I won't turn back. The lessons I learned keep me on track. With each new skill, the stronger I grow. In the face of the storm, I let my courage show. I've tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking